again, with amazing acting and creativity from all sorts of different angles throughout the years. And I just love it. And I know I've talked about this a couple times with other guests and other features. But Star Wars, I started, not that I was getting out of it at all, never that. It's iconic. It's forever, Star Wars is. And the last Star Wars series, I just wasn't super impressed, where I was, just blown away. And so then moving it forward, I saw Rogue One, loved Rogue One, still do. And then they came out with The Mandalorian and also the Boba Fett series, both of them on Disney Plus, obviously. And I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I think Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, they have done an excellent job converting it over when Disney took over. And I think it's just, I love it. I just saw the latest episode, season 3 of Mandalorian. And if you're watching that, it was one of the best episodes I've seen. It was incredible. But, okay, enough babble. We're on Star Wars topic. I was already lucky to interview somebody that was a part of the Mandalorian Mercs. And there's been a group of people that are really iconic in the Star Wars world, as well as the cosplay world. And also with stuff with philanthropy and as far as like fundraising and doing things at medical places like hospitals and all sorts of different places. And who that is the 501 or 501st Legion. And we're going to be speaking with Brandon, who is a member of this Legion. And I'm going to let him tell you exactly who they are, what he does, how you could join if you want to. And we're going to probably talk a bunch of other stuff as well. So in a few moments, we'll be back with Brandon, and we're going to talk about the 501st Legion. Hey, you. Yeah, you over there. Do you have an idea, a podcast idea, something that would go great on this show that somebody should know about, that you or somebody that you know could tell us about? Send us an email at catchinupwithcarter@gmail.com. That's catching with no G in the middle. catchinupwithcarter@gmail.com. We want to know your ideas and we want to talk about them. Toodaloo.
Hey, it's Jackson from Life with Jack. After this video, take a moment to scroll down to my videos, and don't you worry if you like them. More are coming soon. And subscribe, like, and ring the bell of notifications so you don't miss out on another good video.
Show me again the power of the darkness.
Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed. The ability to destroy a planet is insignificant next to the power of the Force.
Find the rebels' hidden fort.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
All right, everybody, I'm excited, and I have Brandon of the 501st on the phone. Brandon, welcome. How are you this evening, my guy?
Hey, doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so before I'd say the end of last year, I didn't know exactly what the 501st were. I've never been to a Comic-Con. I've never been to a Star Wars convention. I didn't know what they were. I'm sorry if I offended anybody. But what is the 501st to be exact? And I know that's kind of a trick question because you can go to the movie explanation of it first, but also say what you guys do.
So I'm kind of like you. Up until roughly 2019, 2020, I really didn't know what the 501st was either, except for what I saw in like the Clone Wars and stuff like that. But to put it simply, the 501st is basically an international costuming organization, and we're dedicated to celebrating Star Wars, through like creative costumes and also getting out in the community. Our slogan is "Bad Guys Doing Good," So that's basically what the 501st Legion is. It's a group of bad guys who do good things.
Yeah, and that's so cool. Like, what are some of the things you guys do, though? I know you go to Comic-Cons, but what else do you do? You do a lot in, like, the hospital aspect of it, right?
Absolutely. So, actually, the Comic-Cons and stuff is where a lot of people see us, but that's probably the least of what we do as a group.
Oh, please say what you do. Yeah.
Yeah, like you've mentioned, hospital visits are a big one. You know, we visit, sick kids in hospitals. We do a lot with, like, charity runs and charity walks. Just different stuff like that. We'll also help out when, Star Wars actors do comic book signings and stuff like that. Really, anywhere that there's a charity to benefit from us showing up, that's where we are. So we'll do, one of my favorite events, we did an Adoption Day event. So just, kids who are getting adopted on Adoption Day this year, we got to be there. We got to take pictures with the kids and the adults, and it was such a great time.
Man, that sounds so cool.
Pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, that's got to be a good feeling, I mean, I'm prior served in the Navy, and it felt good to be in a uniform. But I know for a fact it's got to feel really good to be in a Star Wars full suit, like to the T movie. Bam, anything. Really, I'm such a fan. I got all kinds of action figures and stuff around my studio that I honestly don't even know what I would want to go as. But okay, so back to the 501st. Now, at first I thought it was just stormtroopers, but I was way wrong. So you can be like a huge list of different things to be a part of that, right?
There is an endless amount of costumes that you can be in the 501st. Pretty much any bad guy, quote unquote, that you'd see in a Star Wars movie, TV show, comic book, and we have a CRL for that, basically a costume reference library that you can go on there. It'll have exact specs to build out that costume. I mean, there are costumes in there that were probably on screen for 5 seconds that you may have missed, and there's a CRL for it in there. So pretty much anything you see in the Star Wars universe that you want to be, you can be it in the 501st.
How long have you been doing it?
So I've actually only been in it since 2020.
Okay.
I built my first costume in 2020 during the pandemic. It was a perfect pandemic hobby for me, and right. I learned a lot. Met a lot of cool people, and that's when I joined in 2020.
Yeah, and then that was like the best way to be like, well, I need a face mask anyway, so like, might as well be a cool one. No, I that's so cool. Now, what are some of the things you've done yourself? I mean, you just mentioned that Adoption Day thing, which is super cool. My mom and my uncle were both adopted, and we've even talked about that. At some point in life, you never know. Maybe that's something we would do. So that is cool. That'd be a real cool feeling to, at least ease the transition for people that are doing something like that. It's like you lighten the mood, I guess, for that. But what are some of the other things you've done since you've been a part of it for almost 3 years now? So currently, my first event was an MS walk. It's actually it's an event that we take a lot of pride in here in Arizona because a few of our members have MS. So that was my very first event. That was March 20th, I believe, of 2021. So coming up on it. But since then, I've done 41 events now. We keep kind of a tour of duty that we log all of our events. But some of my favorite ones have been, like I mentioned, the Adoption Day event. I've done Banner Thunderbird out here at Children's Hospital. I've done that a couple times, which there's no way to describe how that makes you feel. I mean, it's a good thing that I wear a mask because you probably see the tears. It's such a good feeling to do those. I've also done Tim Tebow's Night to Shine, which is basically a prom for special needs
children and young adults that Tim Tebow puts on once a year.
Yeah, there's something. We have something like that. We have something like that out this way. It's called something A Night to Remember or something. But yeah, that's such a great, man. I cried watching a video of that before. Like, it's just such a, to give people like that something is such a great idea. But go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, not at all, man. That's exactly what I was going to say. It's such a cool experience seeing the way that kids light up, seeing their favorite characters walking around. Like you mentioned, I mean, these are exact or, pretty darn near exact replicas of what you see in the movies and TV shows. So for kids to just see a stormtrooper walking by, I remember when I first saw a stormtrooper walking by. I'm from a small town in Michigan, and when we never saw anything like that growing up. So when I moved to Arizona, I think it was around 2010 or 2011. I was at like a Phoenix Suns game and saw it was during a Star Wars night because I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I saw stormtroopers walking by, and I lost it. And I was, 25 years old at the time, so I could just imagine being 8, 10 years old and seeing a stormtrooper in real life. It's just an incredible experience.
Yeah, it's such an iconic thing. Is, of course, when you think of the most iconic bad guy of all time, it is like Darth Vader is what I've looked online. I've done Google searches almost every time. Darth Vader is number one, and the best. Just everything from the voice to the mask to the persona. Everything is carried out so well, and. But that's not even just him. When you break down all these other shows, there's so many of other characters that are on the bad side, I guess, that would be really cool to dress up as. And we haven't talked about the new Mandalorian season. I know we did through email, but I've watched the episode twice, and the episode is so damn good.
I love it.
Yeah, and what I was getting to, though, is... I won't give too many spoilers or nothing, but that new, at least for me, a new character is that Gorian Shard. And I think that'd be a neat costume to be that dude, that pirate.
Yeah, it's cool. And I can guarantee you that there's already people in the 501st working on taking screen images of that to find out exactly what was used, talking to the prop makers, on the film and stuff like that to put a reference together for that because, I don't know because we haven't seen it yet, but I have a feeling he's going to be a, kind of a big character in this.
Yeah, him and the guy from Boba Fett, what's his name? Cad Bane, too. He's going to probably be out there. He's going to be another one.
Yeah.
So, okay, how did you get into 501st? Did you one of your friends or somebody tell you about it, or did you do your research? How'd you originally get into it?
Actually, it was my wife that kind of pushed me to do it. She's been very supportive, which is great.
Great lady.
I definitely couldn't ask for anything better, but
great lady, thank you.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
We were actually at an event at Phoenix Children's Hospital out here in Arizona called the Night Hope Walk. One of my favorite charity events to attend, and I would go pretty much every year. So back in 2019, I remember going, and the Star Wars characters were there, and I had to get my picture with them. I was like, I'm the adult running up all these things cutting in front of the kids. But I got my picture with them, and she just happened to mention, and I think she was maybe joking at the time. She's like, why don't you join them? I was like, yeah, right. And then it just kind of stuck with me, though. And I'm like, why not? These are real people that are doing this. So let me maybe message you on Facebook or something and just see. And like I said, it was during the pandemic. And I was like, I'm going to message him. So I did. And, I met Kelly, who's in charge of the Dune Sea Garrison out here in Arizona. And she kind of gave me some links and stuff like that. And it was all virtual because it was during COVID, so it's kind of weird. But I just dove right in. I had never built any sort of cosplay, any sort of costume, nothing before. I like working on cars and stuff, so I had no idea when it comes to building costumes. But yeah, I just kind of got some info and did a virtual meet and greet. We'll do a meet and greet occasionally, pretty much every quarter, but it's virtual. So just logged in one day, got some info. A couple of the guys reached out to me afterwards via phone call, and just kind of gave me some references and some numbers in case I need to, kind of how it started. And now, almost over 3 years now, I'm building my third costume.
And yeah, and that's one thing he said off this interview when I first called him, was that he's got 3. You said Boba Fett, Kylo Ren, and then you were also a bike trooper, you said, right?
Yeah, my very first one, that was kind of the question they asked, is there, what character would you want to be? And like, I couldn't pick, I have so many favorites. But, I started with Biker Scout. I've always been drawn to the Biker Scouts. Return of the Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie.
Such a good
and there's just something about when I was younger, seeing a stormtrooper hop on an air bike, speeder bike, and just zip through the forest, that I've always been drawn to. So that was my first costume, was a Biker Scout. And then, I built my Kylo Ren, and I'm almost done with my Boba Fett.
Man, such a good one too. I don't know where you stand, and I won't say too much for people that haven't seen the show, but from the movie aspect of Boba Fett and the show is a big difference of how he is now with how much he speaks. But I love that show too. And I was looking, since I've been looking at this stuff, I've been wanting to do stuff more and more and more. So I know by next year or sometime at the end of this year, I'm going to start building a suit or finding out a way to do something. But how does somebody join? I mean, Google basically, right? You just Google the 501st and you're going to find a garrison or a group near you most likely, right? Because you guys are all over.
Absolutely. We're worldwide. So we have roughly, I think last time I checked, it was roughly around 26,000 approved costumes and around 14,000 active members
Wow.
in our group worldwide. So that's literally across the globe, 14,000 members active. And honestly, it's really easy. Some people will make it seem complicated and stuff like that, but really, if you want to join the 501st, think of what character you want to be. That's going to be your first thing. And then if you just go to 501st.com, 501st.com, there's some tabs up top, kind of show our mission, origin on the 501st name, stuff like that. But then there's a contact us button. Literally contact us, and we can punch in the right direction depending on where you're at. There's also a link that says how to join. So it just kind of gives you a step-by-step. And again, a lot of it may sound foreign or confusing at first, but it's really easy. I believe on the 501st website, you can actually go to unit map, and it'll show basically just a map of where you're at. You click on your home state, it'll tell you what your garrison is and then who to contact. Shoot them an email, and they can put you in touch with who you need to get some references and get some ideas going.
Now, I know that for some people out there, I know that you can Google outfits if you do have the coinage, if you do have the money and want to do it. There have a lot of really good people out there with this darn 3D printing. I was checking out one guy, Cyberspace, I think his name is, or whatever, his website, and it was just every single Star Wars character. I'm like, ooh, I want that one. And the helmets were like, between 170 and 350 on the helmet, but they're, to the paint, to the T design, and they said they're really comfortable. So I think if you want it, you can buy it or you can build it, right? How did you build yours? Did you use a 3D printer as well then?
No, so I think you were talking about Cybercraft, maybe? Does that sound familiar?
Yeah. What did I say?
Yeah. I don't remember.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, Cybercraft. Sorry. I'm sorry.
No, Cybercraft is actually where I ordered my Biker Scout helmet, so good call.
Yeah.
Like you said, there's people out there in the 501st and stuff that will commission builds. So, if you have the money and not necessarily the experience, there's people that you can pay that will do a bulk of it for you. Obviously you're going to spend a little bit more because it is very time consuming. It's not like you could just say, well, here's $1,000, give me a Stormtrooper costume. They are very specific, built to your size, your frame, your body shape. So there are definitely people you can commission to do that stuff. Or like you said, with 3D printing and a lot of that available to the everyday consumer, you can build it yourself. There's YouTube videos. There's an expansive community of people who do this all the time and who love to help. That's one of my favorite things about the 501st Legion is I have not met a single member so far that has not been willing to drop what they're doing and help me out. It's really incredible. But yeah, that's kind of where I started. I found a couple resources on people who had previously built biker scouts and just kind of sourced some stuff and Googled and YouTube, could ask questions and Zoom called people. So, and they'll also do armor parties. Find your local garrison, and a lot of times people in the garrison will host armor parties where just a group of 15, 20 people get together and help each other build armor.
And I bet a lot of people also probably say, hey, I don't have a lot, but I can pass down this or something like that too. You know what I'm saying? Because I can already tell if you just joined a few years ago, you're already on suit number 3. Who knows what 10 years from now, what you're going to have, you'll probably have a whole, room dedicated. And I hope so, because I think there's so many neat characters. Yeah. The whole gotta win the lotto thing. Yeah. No. I gotta ask though, what is it like when you go out? Once you put it on, are you like, everything I do from this point forward, do you just keep it on and like drive through anything, just keep it on?
Yeah, I mean, depending on which character, as you'll kind of see or as you talk to people, certain costumes are more comfortable than others. And you kind of start to realize how, how tough it is for just a stormtrooper to sit down. There's very few stormtroopers that can even sit down.
Really?
But yeah, it's pretty funny though. Some of my costumes, like my Kylo Ren, is mostly fabric, so that I'm pretty nimble in. I can jump around and play around with kids and get down on my knees and really have fun with them. But my stormtrooper, not as much.
Now, does your helmet for Kylo Ren, does it sound like him too then?
So I do have a voice changer. I don't use it a lot because the Kylo Ren's helmet is very narrow and tight.
Oh.
So I wear glasses, I have to wear contacts and stuff like that. It's not a lot of room in that helmet. However, Darth Vader's helmet, as you know, is relatively large. So most of the people who wear Darth Vader, have 4 to 6 fans in their helmet, the voice changer, electronics box. There's quite a bit going on with that one.
Yeah, that's okay. Well, that's cool. I wonder because I was like, you got to sound like him if you can. That'd be so cool. To be a stormtrooper and sound like one. I know that.
So I have a voice changer, or I even have it's like a programmable voice box almost that goes into my glove. So I can push like button 1, button 2, button 3, 4, or different combinations to make different voice prompts.
What is your family like when you go out like that? Are you the only one dressed up? Do you mess around too and kind of mess with people, or what are you like when you're out there? And you got to be right.
So it depends. There's certain events that we do which are Lucasfilm events. They're actually like a lot of times when you see like Major League Sports teams and stuff like that hosting a Star Wars night. Lucasfilm actually sponsors that. So when we're out there, we have to walk, talk, and act like the character.
P's and Q's. I understand.
You don't see stormtroopers really talking in microphones and stuff like that. We walk, talk, and act like the characters. However, if it's not a Lucasfilm event, say it's an adoption event or something like that, then heck yeah, we're down. I'm playing with people and stuff like that. They're taking pictures. I'm letting them hold my lightsaber. We're doing a bunch of fun stuff. So that's one of my favorite things to do is just bring the fun into Star Wars because everyone loves it.
Yeah, I gotta do it, man. I tell you what, since watching Book of Boba, I've become obsessed with a Tusken, and I noticed there's Tuskens. So I kind of wanted to be that one that was like the one training him. that was really good at at that staff.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be a cool one, but man, I don't know. I literally would be any character just to do it. I would even sit through the time.
Pick one.
Yeah, I wonder how much it would cost to do like the makeup to do the Gamorrean guard, those big gigantic pigs, just what it would cost to do the makeup for that. Like, I think I would do it.
Yeah. I know there's not a lot of Gamorrean guards. So I don't think there's any here in Arizona that are in the 501st. Because there's a lot of, latex suits and stuff like that. And as you said, the makeup, it's crazy. And, getting back to the costumes a little bit, too, there's certain costumes that if you're, a newbie or kind of new into building costumes that you'll probably want to start with. Like, I wouldn't say that the novice or rookie that has never built anything would want to start on, say, an Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett. It's one of the hardest costumes to build. So there's different skill level costumes, so you can kind of start where you're comfortable.
Yeah, and there's a lot of resources you said online on Google or probably Amazon, but has everything. I mean, even down to where you could buy the diagram to build it. Probably. I mean, there's so many neat things they have out there. What do you have coming up next? Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was going to say my one piece of advice for anyone who's interested in joining the 501st would be, first off, obviously pick a character. Second off, before you buy anything, go on the 501st CRLs, the costume reference libraries, and look up everything that you'll need for that character. There's certain things like, a scout trooper seems really easy, but there's a list of things that it has to have. So a lot of times you'll find eBay buyer or eBay sellers or Amazon sellers, selling what you think is going to be something good for your costume. However, it's not either made right or painted right, or there's going to be a lot of modifications required to it. So where you might find a better price, it's going to end up costing you more in the long run to fix it, to make it 501st approvable. So there are a lot of people out there that make stuff that looks right to the naked eye, but won't really fit in the CRL.
So there you have it. You have to. This is like by the book. If you're going to do this, they want you to mimic the movies as much as possible, and there's a way to do it, and they have guidelines for you to do that. And that's cool because that's the way I'd want to do it anyway. The same thing by joining the military. There's certain things you do, and there's certain things you don't do when you're in uniform and out of uniform. So it's like you got to follow that, and if you don't, you're kind of like, man, come on, dirtbag. Like, it doesn't look right if you don't do it by the way you're supposed to. So I understand that completely how that would be, and that's how I'd want to be anyway. You'd want to be like exactly how you'd want to, and it does make a lot of sense. Now I don't want to be a stormtrooper if I can't sit down. But I was just wondering if you ever went to like a drive-through as a Star Wars character, or went to your church with your wife in a Star Wars outfit or something. Like, I feel like I'd have to do something like that once.
I have driven through drive-throughs with my helmet only on. And
there you go.
That's awesome. People are always taking pictures and stuff like that. There's been a couple, events around my neighborhood that, I've kind of showed up to in the Star Wars costume. I mean, the nice thing about having a legit Star Wars costume is you never have to buy a Halloween costume again.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing I said the last interview I had with the Mando Mercs was, like, this is a reason for you to dress up for Halloween all year round and feel good about it. Like, come on, let's do it. And I'm already thinking, like, you say what?
I'm gonna say no other place could you build an incredible looking Star Wars costume and be able to use it for service and for charity and to bring smiles to kids and adults. I mean, it really is the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna put this together, and I'm gonna think about it. And I'm gonna Google and find out where the closest garrison is to me in Rochelle, Illinois, and maybe somebody listening will probably help me out. What are your? I'm gonna wrap this
right now.
Huh?
I said I can tell you right now.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Illinois is going to be the Midwest garrison. And if you go on the 501stlegion.com, you could see who's in charge of that, their email address, everything.
And everybody's just so down to earth, you said, huh? That they'll just write you back and be really friendly and helpful.
That was so. Before we end this, I was gonna say there's two reasons I joined the 501st. The first reason is my passion for service, as you could probably tell how excited I get about doing this. I mean,
Yes.
bringing smiles to not only kids but adults. I mean, you'd be surprised when we go to these children's hospitals. I mean, obviously they look to see us, but when we get out of the kids' rooms, the nurses are pushing each other out of the way to take pictures with us. I mean, Star Wars is really one of those things that just there's no age limits, and everyone recognizes it.
Right. Equal across the board. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's insane. But my second reason is for the community. I've always been looking for a community like the 501st, and it's hard to describe what it's like until you're in it. But I've met so many people. I mean, that I've never met in person, just online and stuff like that. We share tips and tricks and pictures and stories, and everyone has been so helpful. Like I said, me being a novice, not knowing what the heck I was doing, they all, offered to FaceTime me, to help me with this, help me how to attach a strap here. It's really cool. One of the guys that helped me out a lot was actually in Northern California, and then doing Star Wars Celebration last year. We actually met up. The first time I ever met him, it's like we were best friends for years. It was really cool. But yeah, the sense of community is something that's unmatched.
Yeah, there you go. So if you are into Star Wars, and if you like to be a part of something, and maybe, I'm sure we'll meet a huge base of friends. I mean, if you're into it, you're gonna these are your people. Like, go do your thing, and there's so many things you do. So what do you have coming up then, for you? What's your next couple events you got coming up this year?
Well, we have the MS Walk coming up. I think that one is April 1st this year. There's also a hospital visit coming up. I'm going to try to get out of work early to do that. And one thing, unfortunately, with the 501st, we're all volunteers, so we don't get paid to do any of this. So it's all, volunteers. So sometimes I have to skip work or go to a real job, which that really stinks. But
Yeah.
I think the MS Walk is for sure going to be my next one because that's on a Saturday. But we have events popping up all the time, so even though it's not on the calendar right now, we might get an event pop up for this weekend that I end up going to. So,
man, this is so cool. I really do appreciate this so much, talking to me, and I really hope that you guys that are out there that are into sci-fi and are into Star Wars, that this is something you consider, because I know I am. So if you want to reach out to me, catchinupwithcarter@gmail.com. But I have to ask you, who would you like to meet as far as an actor now, if you can, from a Star Wars? Like, a couple, if you want to name, spit out a couple if you want.
a couple of the ones that I really wanted to meet, I actually have been able to with the 501st, like Ray Park. Darth Maul was my favorite. I mean, everyone remembers when Darth Maul got on screen in episode 1 and ignited that double-bladed lightsaber. Oh my gosh! So meeting Ray Park was really cool. Meeting Daniel Logan was really, really cool. I think the one person that I would love to meet, I mean, other than the obvious, Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, I think the one that I would really like to actually be able to sit and talk to would be Ashley Eckstein. Ahsoka is one of my favorite characters, and I got the opportunity to, get a quick photo off with her at Star Wars Celebration, but it was very rushed. They had thousands of people. I would love to be able to sit and chat with Ashley Eckstein.
Yeah, all those people were so, man, I didn't even think about some of them. Just like really anybody. I think to be able to sit down with James Earl Jones even, because I know he's up there, or to even have a, if you're listening, James, I would love, that's like epic to do a podcast over the phone with him. Like, what? Yeah. So many cool things, and that is right. Like, a lot of ways people have to want to be the good guy, and this is a way that you could be a bad guy of doing great things. Such a cool thing, 501st Legion, man. People, come on, let's do this. Let's suit up. I'm so serious.
Yeah.
Brandon, thank you.
If any of you out there listen, I was going to real quick, if I have time, if any of you are out there listening, even if you don't want to join the 501st but would like us to attend an event, you have a great charity that you're promoting, anything like that, just go on the 501st.com. You can hit request an appearance. Again, we do not charge anything. We don't charge for pictures, none of that. We just want to show up and help support good causes. So we'd be happy to be at your event.
Oh, there you go. I already got an idea. I'm going to reach out to these people myself, and I'm going to start doing that and try to get like people to come out to events. Yeah, it's a great idea. Dude, Brandon, thank you so much. If somebody wants to follow you or the group you're in, let's say, like on Instagram, or can people follow you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have my personal Instagram, which is mainly just Star Wars stuff. And I'm Cray_World on Instagram, or our Dune Sea Garrison. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram. I help do PR for them, so I'm always posting pictures, and we're posting some of the events that we're at. So please follow the Dune Sea Garrison on Facebook and Instagram.
Yes, man. Thank you so much for your time, bro. And we're going to definitely talk again. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to help you get started.
Well, there you go.
Thank you for spending an hour of your time with us. Now will you do yourself a favor? Check us out on Catching Up with Carter and Fam Show. Do yourself another favor and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Insta. Our dog's also up there, so you'll be doing yourself a third favor. And we'll see you next week. Toodles.